Every innovative company, and I mean every single one, hits this point where its best ideas, well, they become a huge burden. We're talking about patents. Now, outsourcing their management seems like a total no-brainer for saving money, right? But what if that decision could come back to haunt you? Let's dig in and find out. So, does this question hit a little too close to home? For so many founders and executives, this is the absolute reality. As your company innovates and grows, that portfolio of intellectual property, it can morph into this huge, complex monster. The real question is, what are you going to do about it? All right, so let's get into how this headache even starts. Your team is brilliant, right? They're creating valuable IP left and right. But then, all of a sudden, you're not just running a tech company anymore, you're basically running a global legal operation. And that's the moment when protecting your innovation starts to get in the way of, well, actually innovating. And it is so important to understand this. We're not just talking about filing paperwork here. Real, effective patent management is a strategic function. It's all about actively using your patents to push your business goals forward, whether that's blocking competitors, generating some licensing revenue, or maybe just boosting your company's valuation. And the sheer scale of it all, that's what's so intimidating. You're tracking deadlines in dozens of countries, and each one has its own maze of regulations. You're constantly scanning the market for infringement, all while trying to make sure every single patent actually helps the business. Honestly, it's a full-time job for a whole team, and it can get overwhelming fast. And here's the really costly result of all that overwhelm. You end up paying thousands in maintenance fees for what are called dormant patents. Just think of them as legally protected assets that are just sitting there, gathering dust. They're not blocking competitors, they're not making you any money. Nope, they're just draining your budget. So naturally, this leads to the big question. If the headache is just too big and the costs are way too high, why not just outsource it? I mean, on the surface, the financial argument is incredibly compelling. It's a fair question, right? You're still paying someone, so where do the savings really come from? Well, it's all about a fundamental shift in how you're spending your money, in your cost structure. And when you look at it like this, the difference is just stark. Instead of the fixed, heavy overhead of an in-house team, we're talking salaries, benefits, expensive software licenses, you get to move to a flexible model. You get instant access to top-tier experts and their global networks, but you only pay for what you actually use. Let's break it down into 3 really clear benefits. First, you slash your overhead. You get to tap into a team of specialists without adding them to your payroll. Second, you can scale services up or down based on your R&D cycle, which is way more efficient than a fixed-cost internal team. And third, you get all the benefits of their super sophisticated IP management software without that massive upfront investment. But the story doesn't end with savings, not even close. This is the point where a simple financial decision gets a whole lot more complicated. Because when you hand over the keys to your most valuable assets, a huge new question pops up. What about quality? This is exactly where the decision gets tricky. Because while you're saving all this money on the front end, you could be introducing risks that carry a much, much higher price tag down the line if you don't manage them properly. And these risks are significant. Your provider might not have a deep understanding of your specific industry. Communication could be slow, leading to a total misalignment. And the absolute worst-case scenario, missed deadlines that result in a total loss of your patent rights. Quality simply cannot be an afterthought. And of all the risks we just mentioned, this is the most dangerous one, strategic misalignment. Look, if your outsourcing partner doesn't deeply get your company's vision, your product roadmap, and who your competitors are, they can't protect your future. They're just processing paperwork instead of safeguarding your most valuable assets. So, what's the solution here? Well, it's not to avoid outsourcing altogether. It's to do it intelligently, with a clear framework that lets you maintain both quality and, crucially, control. See, this reframes the entire goal. You're not just hiring a vendor, you are building a strategic partnership. The objective is to get the best of both worlds, that sweet cost efficiency and rock-solid protection. So, how do you actually do this? Just think of it as a 4-step playbook. First, you have to vet their expertise. Don't just ask if they handle patents, ask if they understand your industry. Second, you need a rock-solid service-level agreement, or SLA. We'll get to that in a second. Third, you can't just set it and forget it. You need regular check-ins and quality audits. And finally, and this is so key, you have to bring them into your strategic conversations so they always know where you're headed. Let's dig into that SLA for a moment. This document is your main lever for control. It's where you turn those vague promises of quality service into concrete, measurable standards. You define acceptable error rates, required response times, everything you need to hold them accountable. But ultimately, the best relationships go beyond the contract. When you treat your provider as a true partner, they stop being just a service provider and they start being a source of really valuable insights, helping you see opportunities you might have missed otherwise. That's where the real value is hiding. So it turns out the real question isn't about savings versus control at all. It's about whether you have the right systems in place to get those savings without losing control. It's a strategic choice, not just a financial one. Are you ready to make it?